Last week, Lynn and I made a cake. It was a pineapple cake with creamy icing. Lynn tasted it and said it was bussin'. 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 B-U-S-S-I-N. Bussin'. Repeat that with me. Bussin'. She was cool. After she said that, she really got me thinking. I mean, now I'm thinking about pineapple cake. But that's a slang term for something that would be delicious or good. For example, Gito, that cake is bussin'. Or maybe your new shirt is bussin'. In the 50s, young people might use words like cool, gitchiness, or bee's knees. I looked this up. In the 70s might be groovy, bomb, or stellar. In the 80s, fresh, tubular, or fly. Now skip to 2025 and I'm learning bussin'. Each generation, you see, believes themselves to be smarter and cooler than the one before them. Look at fashion trends. Each generation has its look. Some trends come back from previous generations and some never do, thank goodness. But if you think about it, you can see how each generation believes that they're one up in the previous generation. I know that as a young man, I believed I was so much smarter than my parents and all of their generation. Then as I got a little older, I started to see the wisdom from my grandparents. I could see the value in the way they did things. They were able to live a lot differently than we do today. Both sides of my family could have survived without much outside influence. They grew food and raised animals, and they lived a lot more simply. But we changed. I remember when my daddy passed away. First thing that happened in my life that I would have called him about, something tears up, something breaks, or maybe something I'd just never done before. He grew a lot in my eyes that day when I had that first thing that I just had to figure out without getting any advice or any input from somebody else. But I regret a lot of the views that I held in my younger days. I regret things that I wish I'd said to him and to my grandparents. They were wise. But back to bussin'. They changed it to be cool. You and I, changed things to be cool. Just tonight, as I was writing this, I was talking to another pastor who said he wanted to come out to one of our services, and he asked what time we began. And I told him, and he went back. He's in his 80s, and he was talking about how a lot of country churches used to begin services early in the morning at 8:30 or 9:30. He was talking about a church that he had filled in at where they didn't have air conditioning, and when they came into the worship service, they would open the windows. Not only were they willing to come worship in the heat, but since the windows were open and the church was full, they would set up chairs outside the windows. People were willing to come and sit outside just so they could be part of the worship. I ain't never going to be one of those who think we should keep doing something just because it's always been done that way. But at the same time, all change ain't good change. And I'm going to hurt your feelings a little bit here. You ain't that much smarter than the ones that came before you. I ain't much smarter than the ones that came before me. And you know me, and you know that I'll do something different, or I'll act different, or I'll look different, if it helps to be able to minister to somebody. If it helps to introduce someone to Jesus Christ who thinks they're too different or too bad to be saved. But what I have to be weary of, what we have to be weary of, is that we don't go so far to be cool, or go so far in the way of being accepted that we change his word. We see how we like to reinvent words, even change words' actual meaning, like in the 80s when bad meant really good. We might need to change our approach, but remain steadfast in his word. I'm going to read to you Malachi 3:6, and I don't know how many times preachers say that in the pulpit, but I'm going to read to you Malachi 3:6. Because I, Yahweh, have not changed. You, descendants of Jacob, have not been destroyed. Y'all, thank God my God doesn't change. Thank God that he loves me as much now as when he created, when he spoke me and you into existence. But this portion of Scripture, they're talking to a group of people who aren't supporting the church. And they're not tithing. And we don't struggle with that for the most part, but money is just a symptom. When you aren't faithful with your money, you're probably not faithful with the rest of your life. But that's just the way that it can be seen. Money shows up because that's one of the first places we tend to fall. Psalms 119, 105 says, "Your word is a lamp for my feet and a light on my path." His word is a lamp, you guys. Understand that there's a reason we need light. We need the lamp because without his words, we're in the dark. Don't allow the world to change you. It's now true, and it's always been true, that we need him. We don't need him on the first and the third Sundays of the month, or the second or the fourth Sundays of the month. We need him all the time. I know that there are reasons we can't be in church sometimes, but I also know that we abuse those reasons. It's not enough to make an obligatory visit to his house. It's not enough to tell folks you go to church. It's not enough to put your name on the rolls. We claim to be children of God. Recognize his wisdom. Don't think yourself so smart and so strong. See that he is the way. Don't regret not being closer to him. You'll never regret being his child. Say it and mean it. I'm his and he's mine. I love every moment that I get to be his. I love every moment that I get to show him my devotion. And I pray you feel the same. Don't allow the noise of the world to keep you from him. On the way to church this morning, I heard a song come on. One of the lines was, "Jesus, you came through." Some of you that listen to a lot of contemporary gospel know it's "Jesus, you came through" when I needed rescue. Y'all, we are quick to call on God to rescue us. We're quick to call on God to come to our aid. We're quick to fall to our knees even when we're struggling with a physical infirmity, when our family is in trouble, when things get hard. We're quick to fall to our knees, but we're not near so quick to stand up and praise his name when everything's going great. Why is that? Why is that? We change his word. We change his word. Not only do we change his word, but we change in us what we think it means. You know, it's not just that we're hearing it and saying this to get us by in front of other people, but we're hearing it and we're changing it in our hearts to where we'll actually talk ourselves into believing that we're hearing right. I said first and third Sundays, and a lot of y'all who come know that I use that term all the time. First and third Sundays refers to refers to the church. I say first and thirders because those are people that's going to come twice a month. First and third Sundays. Second and fourth Sundays is the other group. I ain't picking on y'all. Well, I am picking on y'all because I think you ought to be in church when the door's open. I think you ought to be anxious to praise God. I think you ought to be anxious to come and be counted on his team. You know, I think that when you sign up for a team, I don't know how many of y'all in the sport, but when you sign up for a team, you show up for practice. You show up for the game. You show up and your teammates know that you're part of it, and the coach knows that you're on that team. And y'all, God is so much more than a coach. I don't mean to diminish him in any way, but don't you want him to know you're on his team? Because he came through when I needed rescue. And I'm going to call on him, and I'm going to continue to call on him when I need rescue. I'm going to call on him. But do you want to call on him as the one who comes first and third Sundays or second and fourth Sundays? I'm going to be quick to say, "Father, come and save me." I'm going to be quick to say, "Father, come and save me." But I know that he knows that I'm there every practice. I'm there every game. That I'm playing hurt sometimes. I know that he knows that. And I believe that he's going to come and save me. I know that he's going to come and rescue me. How would Daniel have been in that lion's den had he not had a right and strong relationship with God? What do you think it would have been like when he was tossed in with lions, with hungry lions even? What do you think it would have been like had Daniel been tossed in there and he didn't know my Father, he didn't know my Savior? Wouldn't have been no story after that. He'd have been eaten. He'd have been eaten. But Daniel knew somebody. Daniel knew something. Daniel knew that God comes to his rescue every time he needs him, that God comes and lifts him up and strengthens him, and he keeps the devil away. He keeps the world away. He keeps those things at that length and won't allow them any closer. Because he comes through when you need rescue, and he came through for Daniel right there and then in that moment. You know, think about Job as Job was going through all his trials, all his troubles and woes, as Job hit his knees, and Job being a faithful man, but Job didn't just say, Father, come help me. Father, I need you bigly. Father, I need a lot of it right now. And God was faithful to come and be that big God, that big G God. God was faithful to come and be the one who would rescue and save. I tell you all this because so many of you are sitting out there and you need rescue right now. You need to be delivered from something in your life. You need to be taken out of some circumstances. You wish things would work differently, but I'm going to tell you, you're not putting all the ingredients in to make it work right. You're not. Try to make a cake without flour or sugar. It'll never be a cake. Try to call yourself a Christian without my Father at your core, without my Father at the bottom of your heart. Try to call yourself a Christian when you keep him at arm's length. I love the image of God running to me. I've told y'all many times that God is not a distant God. God is always right here at me, and God never wants to be separate from me. He never wants to be away from me. God doesn't want that, but I bring that about in my life sometimes. Sometimes I keep God at length. I keep him at a distance. I keep him over here. Sometimes I'm like, I got this, Lord. I don't need your help on this. Sometimes I'm like, Lord, I just want to do this anyway, even though I know this ain't what you want in my life, and I keep him at his distance. And God will stay there. I mean, he's still calling me. He's still telling me. He's still like, boy, you're messing up. You ever had daddy stand over you and let you do something wrong, real wrong? Then at the end of it, try to change. You don't have to say that, because when he stands there and watches you, it's quite obvious you're screwed up. He don't have to say, I told you so, because he's looking over there at you. He knows and you know. You know the great thing about my God is as I push him away, the moment I say, Father, you know, I see me take a small step. The moment I say, Father, he rushes to my side. He rushes to my side. Yeah, I miss that from those patriarchs and matriarchs in my life, from those people who taught me and showed me and who pushed me. I miss that from those people. I miss having those people who I could call and say, tell me what you think about this. I miss that from them. There's no reason I should keep God at distance now. There's no reason. I say I miss this in my life, but by evidence in my life, am I acting like I truly miss it? Yeah, as we age, moms and dads go away, and grandparents go away, and aunts and uncles, you start to miss them. As we age, you become the one that people will look to for the answers and the wisdom, and you'll be the one that they'll call and say, can you tell me how you do this? You'll be that person. Y'all, God is that person all the time. God, that's who God is all the time. God is the one who we go to, and when we say, Father, help me, he rushes to our side. Don't act like you miss that in your life and then shun him and keep him at distance. Don't act like you miss it because you're not being honest. You're not being honest. Why is it not working for you? It's not working for you because you're not working the problem correctly. The first answer is him. Every time the answer is him. Ask your question. God, before you can get the words out of your mouth, the answer is Jesus Christ. I'm struggling with the answer is Jesus Christ. I don't think I can, when the answer is Jesus Christ. You understand that? I don't know that we do. I don't know what we do because he does call, he does show, and he will give if we'll ask. He'll take it away or he'll make it not matter. So many times in my life, I find the it don't matter part. Things that he didn't take away. He just made it not matter to me anymore. And it doesn't bother me that I can't this or that I can't that or that I don't this or I don't that or I don't know why my back hurts. I don't know why I'm so stiff. Y'all have to look that way, but I have to do this to do it. It's just the way it is. You know what? I don't mind doing that. Some things are hard, some things are easy. Y'all, in my life, if I didn't have him, I don't know how I would make those things work. I couldn't make those things work. Things change. Cool, groovy, turns to bussing. One thing remains the same. All those words that we created meant the same thing. All the noise that we try to allow in Christ, God is still the same. He's still the same. We think things change, but they don't. The only thing that changes is nothing changes. The only thing that changes is the words that we call them. The only thing that changes is the fact that we think we're smarter, and these things don't change, because every time I think I'm smarter, a few years pass and I realize, I see why they did it this way now. Oh, I see why they did it that way. I think about me and Alan trying to aggravate my daddy and my uncles. I've told y'all this story before, but I love this story. Grandma wanted the window unit out of her house. She didn't want it out of her house. She just wanted it out the window so she could look at the window. And her solution and our solution was to cut a hole in the wall and mount the air conditioner in the wall. Alan remembers that day, me and him and Daddy sitting there, and what y'all gonna do? We're gonna cut a hole in that wall here. Y'all gonna do what? We're gonna cut a hole in that wall. And as we begin, he just kind of falls in faith, and then me and Alan start calling measurements out to one another, and it'd be like 36 and a big notch plus a little notch. Those of y'all that don't know how to read a tape measure, that's just technical terms for you. Well, we knew what we were saying. We know what we were saying. Uncle Lee's going, these boys know what they're doing. I don't think they know what they're doing. Daddy's going, I ain't saying nothing. We've been trying to aggravate him with that for years. You know what changes? What changes is my belief and my understanding of those things. What changed was his belief that we really did understand what it meant. I'm not so caught up on if you say bussin', or if you say cool or awesome, or go back to the 80s and be fresh and fly. I'm not so caught up with what you think is awesome, but I do pray that you know awesomeness. And I do pray that you know that it's him. Every time it's him. Every consistency in our life is him. Everything that never changes and should never change is him. That's what should change. I'm asking our musicians to come forward. We're going to have a hymn of invitation. I'm going to tell you that this God I'm talking to you about, this God who never changes, has called you for years. He's called you for years, and he's calling today. He's calling today. I pray that you're saved, but standing in the pulpit lets me understand something. That even though I look out, I don't know who's saved. I don't know who is. I don't know who ain't. It's important that I know so that I can pray specific prayers for you. But I'm not that important in your life. He is. You need to talk to him. You need to accept him. You need to let him believe. Let him know that you're his child. Let him know those things. Right now is an opportunity for you. You can come down to this altar and you can pray God into your heart. You can ask him there that you can be saved. You can be saved and come down here and say, Father, I need your strength. You can take that small step to him and you can feel the rush of him meeting you at this place. You can say, Father, take this from my life, remove this from my life, and he's faithful to do that too. Whatever your need, whatever your burden, God's faithful to handle it or help you to handle it. Whatever you need, now is the time. I pray that as we sing, you'll hear and you'll understand that there is one ingredient missing. You either need him or you need more of him. As we sing, you do your business with him.
312.
All hearts clear? Yeah, we're going to leave this place. I don't want you to go with a burden that you were supposed to leave here. I am not important. It's not important that I know, but it is important that you tell him. It is important that you take your worries and your woes. It is important that you give your heart to him. If you didn't come down to this place, and I don't think for a moment everybody came that was supposed to come, but if you didn't come down to this place today, I want you to know that my God, the God who called you to this place, if you didn't hear, you didn't come, you didn't listen, is going to follow you to your cars. He's not going to leave you alone. He's going to call you. He's going to call you. And whether you're here, there, whether you're sitting at a stoplight, whether you're sitting at the restaurant eating lunch, answer his call. Answer his call. Something's missing in our lives. Something's missing in our lives. And if it's not totally missing, we need just a little more of it. We need just a little more. And I know that's the case because we always need just a little more. We always do. Once more, our hearts clear. We're leaving. They need to hear. You need to be the one to tell them. As we go, buck up. Stand up straight. Stand up tall. Don't flinch on his word. Don't give in on his word. Accept every gift, every offering, every blessing that he's got for you. He's got so many. He's going to give them to you for a purpose. Be seen. Let them see what a child of God looks like. Be seen. Let them know what a father looks like. Be seen and tell them, y'all. Tell them who sent you. As we go, Lord loves you, and I do too. I'm going to leave the floor open. No, I ain't. Lamar.